Hi guys, welcome back to Mentor, yet another video podcast. Great to see you all back here again. It's always nice to see that there's more and more of you joining up every day to follow my podcasts. Make sure all of you new joiners keep sending in questions and suggestions about future content because I am doing this kind of like an interactional thing for you guys. So the more questions you guys have, the more content there will be on this podcast in the future. So today I am going to talk a little bit about pilot medicals because I've actually done my own pilot medical today, so I thought it would be appropriate. But stay tuned, make sure you watch it to the end as always, and if you haven't already subscribed, make sure that you do click that subscribe button and tell all of your friends about this channel so that we can keep growing it together, okay? Hi guys, welcome back. Glad to see that you're still here with me. So, pilot medicals. What are they? Why do we have them? How often do we do them? And so on. That's what I'm going to be spending the next couple of minutes explaining. First of all, I want to start off with saying that I'm getting a lot of questions from you guys on this topic. And I'm really happy that you do ask me these questions, but I do want to emphasize that I am not a aeromedical examiner, which means that I can't really go into answering details of medical conditions, what you can fly with, what you can get a medical with, and so on. It's not my profession. So if you have specific questions about your medical suitability for becoming a pilot, I suggest that you just Google up aeromedical center or aeromedical examiner, and I'm sure that you will find loads and loads of telephone numbers that you can use, and just call them and you'll get a straight answer to the questions you have. Okay, that's the best answer I can give to specific conditions. So, medical examinations. Why do pilots do medical examinations? Well, on the face of it, it's fairly easy to answer. We want to make sure that we keep good track of our health, to make sure that there's not any underlying kind of disease that can come creeping up and ultimately end up with a palate incapacitation while we're airborne. Okay, we want to make sure that we know to the best of our capabilities how good our bodies are and how we're feeling generally. We do know that it's impossible to completely eradicate the risk of palate incapacitation, but making sure that we do continuous medical checkups is one way of building a barrier against that, okay? So there are two classes of pilot medicals. You will need to do a pilot medical in any case, whatever kind of aircraft or balloon you're going to fly, you're going to need a medical. Class 2 is for private pilots and for flying experimental flights, and I do believe even for hot air balloon flights. And Class 1, which is probably what you guys are most interested in, is for commercial aviation. So if you're going to get yourself a CPL or an ATPL, you're going to need to get a Class 1 medical. Now, Class 1 medical, initially you will have to go to an medical center, an AMC they're called, to get your initial Type 1 medical. The initial medical examination that you'll have to do is slightly longer than the ones that you will do continuously throughout your career. You can expect the first test to take up to and including 4 hours. Initially, you will have to go through your medical history. That includes any severe illnesses that you might have had during your lifetime. And I don't mean things like broken a leg or something like that. I mean, maybe you had some child sickness when you were small. Maybe you have been really ill with some kind of cancer or whatever. That is going to have to be disclosed during the initial interview with the doctor. They might also ask you for your family's medical history, so if there's any genetical diseases that runs through your family on your mother's and your father's side and so on. They might ask for that, they might not, but you can be expected to answer those questions as well. if you do have had any kind of major illnesses before, you are doing best with taking all the paperwork you have from your doctor about that specific illness when you go and do your class 1 medical, because they will be asking for that kind of documentation in any case. So that's a work through your medical history. Generally, if there's nothing strange, that doesn't take much time at all. Then they are going to check your eyesight. It's perfectly okay to use glasses. I use glasses myself, but there are some limitations to what kind of problems with your eyesight you can have, and the exact limits of those I don't know by heart. You're going to have to go into your CAA website, your Aviation Authority website, whatever it is, and I'm going to put a link to the CAA website, which is actually very good and gives you exact limitations. So they will check your eyesight. They will look for things like color blindness, for example. They will look for basically how well you see in different lighting conditions and things like that. Then they will go and do a physical examination. This is checking your heart, your lungs, your blood pressure, your nervous system, checking your limbs, reflexes, things like that. So just go through your body, basically making sure that everything is fine, everything is normal. They will do a hearing test, which is meant basically you will be put into one of those scary little boxes with headphones on, and you tend to get 2 buttons, and you press that whenever you hear something in your earphone. Depending on which ear it is, you'll press the right or the left button. There are also limitations to what kind of hearing impairments you can have. Once again, you'll find the exact limits to that in whatever Aviation Authority website you go in and check out. Then they also do a electrocardiogram, which is they put little electrodes all over your body and your arms and legs, and they check, they run a little bit of electricity to your heart to make sure that there's no problems with your heart rhythm or with the blood flow through your heart. If there's no abnormalities, this is really, really quickly done. If they do find something, they're going to refer you to a specialist to make sure that there's nothing wrong. Then they do a lung function test, which is you just blowing as hard as you can into a tube, and then check what your lung capacity is. They will take a urine test to check for things like white blood cells in the urine, but also mainly for blood sugar, for diabetes. And they will take a blood test, and that's to check for your hemoglobin count, to see how much hemoglobin you have in your blood, so how good your blood is basically in taking up oxygen. They might also, depending on the doctor, they might check other things in your blood as well to see if all levels are where they should be. They might or might not do a drug test as well. I think in Spain, for example, it's mandatory to do drug tests as part of your medical. I'm not sure if that's the case in other European countries, but these are the main ingredients in a pilot medical. Now, you shouldn't be afraid to do your pilot medical, okay? Most of the things that can pop up in a pilot medical that's not good can be fixed. Back in the day, it was really hard. If you had a heart condition, for example, you basically were excluded. Nowadays, the heart surgeries are so good, so that even if you've had a heart attack, depending on how the scarring is in the heart and that you don't have any side effects of the disease, you can get back to active duty. So it's really important that you're honest with your doctor to make sure that you are really fit to fly before you even start your training and start your job as an airline pilot. Subsequently, also, if something does happen in between your medical tests, you have to report that to your doctor, because some medicines, for example, are not good for flying. The only way to know that really is by, of course, reading the little booklets that you get when you get your medicine, but also to contact your medical examiner if you're not sure. So how often do we do the medical test then? Well, you tend to, up until you're 60, I believe, you can do it every year. There are some limitations when you go above 40, which basically just increases the intervals of certain tests that needs to be done. For example, your hearing test, if you're under 40, I believe, but don't quote me on this, you do it every 5 years, but then as you gain age, you will have to do it more and more often to make sure that nothing detrimental is happening to your hearing. That goes with your electrocardiogram, your eyesight as well. So generally, when you're reasonably young, you'll do it every year, and then you might get it up to every 6 months or so when you get a little bit older. Or if something happens to your health, so if you have some kind of heart conditions, for example, or something like that, that renders your air medical examiner to want you to do the medicals more often. That might increase the rhythm of your tests as well. But generally, once a year is when we tend to do it. And when you do it like I did today, it's really quick. Like you do the blood samples and the urine sample, and then it takes maybe 40 minutes to go through all of the tests. So I hope that evened out some question marks for you. If you do have more questions on this, as I said, I'm not going to be answering any specific medical questions, but anything that you want to know about actually getting your pilot medical or maintaining it and stuff, just fire away. And if you have any other questions, remember to shoot them to me as well, so that I can maybe do another podcast about that in the future. For now, I hope you'll have a fantastic day, and I hope you keep spreading the word about the channel if you like it, and if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do so. And for next time, see you.